What's up everyone, it's KK, and today we're going to be making a very important video here for Resort, going over every single spawn location, telling you exactly where to look for players off the spawn. Okay, now this is one of the most important videos for this map because it's going to allow you to know where your pathing should go when you spawn on the map. All right, now I'm going to be going over every single spawn on the map, and I'm going to be telling you exactly where to look off the spawn to know where players are at. Now I have done this with Suburb before, so you can go ahead and look back on the playlist for the guides and you can find that, but let's get into Resort. Let's lock in. Now, why not start with the spawn that we just got? So the spawn that we just got here was in a back by Resort, and we were in this little, corner here. Now, off this corner, there's not too much, spawn PvP you can get into, but if you do come down to your left here and come down the way, there's two positions where you could take a look to find players running out of their spawns. Okay, and the first is going to be all the way down to my right here. You could possibly catch a player coming over here up the street near this construction area, or you can peek down all the way to your left here and you can catch the player that got this house spawn. Now most of the time it's rare that those spawns get filled when you do get the spawn, but it is worth taking a stop at this spot right here just to peek down to your left and see if there's a player there, or peek down to your right. If so, it just gives you a little bit of information on how to push that player efficiently if you do want to go for some PvP. So let's go for the next spot. All right, the next spawn that we have here is the Sky Bridge spawn. So we're actually inside of the building here. If I come this way, I can actually go to the Sky Bridge. If I come this way, I can go downstairs. Now you can catch players two different ways here, right? So the first way is you don't go to Sky Bridge, you come downstairs here, right? You come all the way down to the bottom, and I am lagging just a little bit here, but you come to the right and you watch this street. Now there is players that like to rush the bank, and they'll start coming right here from Modern Apartment down the street, and you can hold here and listen for audio. All right, this is one spot that you'd be waiting for. If not, you come over here and you actually hit the Sky Bridge. Now hitting the Sky Bridge is more of an area that you kind of just wait, because it's a centralized area and you can sit there and wait for players to show themselves, get a vibe of how players are maneuvering around. So if I come over here to the Sky Bridge, I can actually peek players who spawned all the way over by wastewater plant. All right, and you can catch them walking up over here on the hill. You can watch them walk into the hospital. So this is another good spot where you can catch players off spawn, moving over here in this direction. Obviously, if someone does decide to go and hit the bridge on this side, catch them there too, but it's not really efficient to be trying to kill these players. And then other than that, you're going to be catching anybody who decides to run through Modern Apartment and maybe pop out the front here. So that's about it for this spawn. All right, now we have the Sunset Tunnel spawn. Now if you know the spawn, it's very important. All right, when you get the spawn, you do not wait here. All right, you automatically run out and you want to catch the spawn that's down the way here. All right, so what you want to do is run all the way down and get to this wall much quicker than I obviously did right now. Right, in the real raid, you're going to beeline here right off the rip and waste no time. What I always do is come up here. When I start getting closer to this wall, I start walking a little bit, because I know players can be able to hear your footsteps when you're running, and that's the first dead giveaway for them to stop and be able to line up their shot. What you want to do is just wait here, use this tree as line of sight to block this entrance from looking at you, and walk directly in front of it. I walk off to the side and I hold the side of this wall right here between the slit, and I just listen for audio. Give it like 15 seconds and just see if the player on the other side of the wall spawned yet. The worst thing you want to do is come here and just walk through and start walking over this hill. You don't know what kind of headset they may be using. Maybe using a Quest headset where this grass right here isn't even visible to them. You see how I zoom in and the grass isn't even visible? Now you're walking over this hill and they're seeing your head before you even see them, because all this foliage and the grass is in the way, So you don't want to be pushing over hills like this at all. You want to be, listening for audio first, wait for them, then you push out, just light them up while they're not even looking at you. But other than that, that's pretty much all you have to worry about for this spawn, besides any player that decides to quickly push the hospital roofs, which you just have to look out for that. The next one we have here is right in the back of the hospital and right in the back of modern apartments. We're kind of right in between in this little garbage area, right? Now off the spawn here, we have two choices to find players off the spawn. You either push this way towards modern apartment and you obviously have the first access there. This is going to be the closest spawn to modern apartment, and you can push over towards fire station and catch that player first. Something I would like to do is get into modern apartment and probably get into the second floor, and you hover along the windows and you can watch at fire station, or you can push up and get on top of this little grass hill here, and you can stand on there and you can look at the player at fire station and try to take them out that way. Now if you don't want to go that way, you continue to come down here. Now within the spawn, there's actually a door right down the way that leads directly to the sky bridge, and I just showed you that the sky bridge is a spawn. So if someone does spawn there, you can actually push them directly just by pushing them off the spawn here. So we spawn right here. If you walk directly down this way and you come down this alleyway, there's going to be a door that leads directly to Skybridge. So if you come into this door, can't move, right here. So pushing down here, you may want to slow down here just in case that player from Skybridge decides to, come across, walk over, come down the stairs here. It's very possible, but play it slow, walk over to this area and just be prepared to listen to footsteps for a player, that spawned up in the Skybridge. Next, we have this underground bathroom spawn. It's the road that leads down towards modern apartment, Halif Voyage, and we have fire station over on this side. Now when it comes to this spawn, you have another two options. Now obviously you can push down towards modern apartment and you can see if there's a player that's rushing there, but most efficiently, to get a kill off the spawn here, you're going to want to push up towards fire station, because there's a spawn right in the back next to this garbage truck area, and that's the first player you can catch pretty easily. Now one thing I would do here is listen for a bit, see if they kill the scabber by fire station. That kind of gives you some audio to let you know, okay, there's a player there. Other than that, you're going to be sitting here. If you hear footsteps on the other end of the wall, you just walk over to these stairs here and you peek over the wall by using these stairs. All right, so this is going to be the first player you're going to be peeking and killing, is right here over the wall. Most likely they're going to be hovering within the fire station. You kill them while they're trying to pop out the front, or it's possible that this player may be trying to run all the way towards the backside and you can catch them by shooting over the wall here. Okay, so either one of those two choices is possible. Next spawn we have here is the beach side, and it's right behind the bank, I would say. Now this spawn is very interesting. You do have two directions you can choose here. Now obviously you can come down to this right side and you can look down towards wastewater plant and you can catch those players coming up for their spawn. Now the thing is, it's a very long range, and of course if you don't have a good scope, hitting those shots are going to be a problem, and just using a scope in general, it's going to be a problem hitting shots along here. So you can catch the players 100% walking up here from wastewater plant, but it's not the most efficient. Obviously you can come down this way also, and like I said, or like we've shown, there is a spawn down over on this end. Now you can catch that player potentially walking out of that spawn if they actually had that spawn. So it would actually catch them coming between these walls, probably walking through here. Other than that, the main thing that I like to do on this spawn as of recently is actually hit the balcony here off the spawn and just observe around the bank. So you jump on top of this ledge. Now in training mode, you actually can't vault and climb things. I'm not sure why that's been a thing for so long, but you can't. So basically you climb up here on this little ledge, you run, you jump here, put your arm up, and you go ahead and grab and vault using the trigger button or the grip, and it will vault you over. You can get on top of the balcony, you roam around the end here, and I'll kind of just sit here off the spawn and observe the front of the bank and catch any of the players who are trying to rush there. All right, so you can sit up here in this corner, and there are some players that watch this spot and they'll catch on to you quickly, but you just gotta be smart about it. But other than that, those are about the two ways you can play off the spawn. Alright, now we have the spawn over at Lighthouse, which is on the other side of the Sunset Tunnel. Now again, if you have this spawn, just like the player on the other side, you have to run. You dip here and you get to the other side of this wall as quickly as possible. Now you're not going to be holding this same slit right here, right? A lot of players, they like to go and hold that slit right there from this side, it's not good from this side, all right? The other players on the other side, they have the advantage, you know, being on the other side of the wall, holding this right here. You don't have the same advantage as they do. They can definitely cover a lot more than you. The best thing to do is to hold the edge here, okay? So if they decide to walk through here, you listen and you shoot them, all right? You don't want to be the one peeking and walking through here. You always want to be the one catching them walking through this little slit here. So you sit here on the edge here, you hear them walking through, you get ready, you kill them. Or you sit here, if they're oblivious and they don't know what's going on, you wait for them to walk by here just by listening to audio. What you don't want to do is pre-peek. You don't want to sit here at the corner looking at Sunset Tunnel, waiting for them to come out, or push into the middle of the street. You don't want to push them in there, let them hold a position or sit somewhere and, you know, make it a stall or stalemate where it's a fight where, you know, you're just like holding positions. You want to make sure they're right in the middle of the open, you catch them by surprise and you're able to finish them then and there. You don't want to spend too much time off a spawn kill, okay? So you don't want to engage in a long range fight here. Wait for them to push up, don't peek it, be patient, listen for the audio. Oh, they're in the middle of the open, they have nowhere to go, you can spray them down, boom, you peek out, you light them up, and you go on with your day. Next spawn that we have here is by the fire station, off to the side of it. Now off the spawn, I rarely hover out to this side and go this way. Obviously early wipe, you may want to loot up, go to fire station a bit. Other than that, the only player you can really catch off the spawn is coming along this way and peeking over to this house right here. You can catch the players that spawn, I believe, somewhere in this little left corner here, and they may pop up and you can catch a glimpse of them. Sometimes they come across the street here also to the dealership. Other than that, there's not much you can catch unless you want to sit on this back hill and kind of watch this little middle of the street towards modern apartment, or kind of just watch the bridge here. Other than that, there's not too many other options. All right, the next one we have here is right in the back of the car dealership, or maybe you can see this is the front of the car dealership actually. Now this is the spawn I was saying, over by fire station. You can peek over, you can catch the player that comes out around here. The person at the, you know, over here by the fire station would come over this hill and they would be along this area. So obviously you'd be watching for this player that comes up this hill if they decide to push you from this spawn from here. Other than that, you can look down to your right or so, but there's not too much other spawns to really catch from this angle. Off this spawn, most of the time I kind of just creep my way over towards Leaf Voyage and see what's going around in the middle of the street. But other than that, you really only have to worry about the players that are across the street here. So if you want, you could push across the street and push these players, you know, that spawn on the backside here. But that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you can see how all these spawns tie into each other, and how, you know, when you spawn, now you can, you know, be able to look at other spawns directly off the spawn and know, you know, exactly where players are going to be at, where the flow of traffic is going to work. So other than that, that's going to be it for this video. If you like this video in any way, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the comment section, tell me how you play off the spawn, if you're using these same things, and then go ahead, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more similar content, and I will catch you guys later.